Oh my fucking god. I just can't believe how fucking slow you are. I'm gonna fucking freeze the fuck. It's not that. It's like fucking lugging to a motherfucker or fucking. Like, I can't watch fucking stuff and do this at the same time, which is just super awesome. Fucking furious about how fucking slow and fucking useless internet and anything that is supposed to be smart is so not highly intelligent. Why? Really? Why? No, it's not gonna do anything. What as fuck. I love when shit does not work. Haha, like me. What?
For about 4 weeks to go help with family. I probably should have led with that, but the point is, I've learned a lot the last couple of weeks. Namely, two things. One, I have no idea where anything is in the house. I've lived there for.
Are spiritually different and elevated about making things over rearranging things or being a parasite of the food. It's better for you as a person to run a sawmill than it is to be, say, a high-speed trader. Am I being crazy?
I would only say that it's the trap of the binary. That's the trap. Do you remember? This was 2016. Republican debates. Marco Rubio's answer was,
welders make more money than philosophers. We need more welders and less philosophers.
The crowd collapsed. Big applause line. My social channels blew up with people going, hey, this guy's really singing your song. What our country needs are more welders who can talk intelligently about nature. And we need more philosophers who can run an even beat. Skill, be great at it. But for God's sakes, go get your liberal arts education. You don't have to borrow all that money to do that. Just be interested, be curious.
So tonight's talk is one of those ones that is going to be
fairly straightforward academic, but it's probably going to hit you maybe harder than you thought. So just give you a heads up about that. It said there's really two acceptance for validation, all of that, and it's not getting met.
I had to go.
And they try to
You
get
too?
it
Hey!
I was trying to go on Pine Beach and two house down. He's like, no, we're going back. I'm like,
frustrating. It's hard.
okay.
So an unresolved need then causes the
Very
child
bouncy
to
poops.
feel alone. Nobody cares for me. It must be my
Hey!
fault. I don't feel safe. And that's complex trauma. The second
Yeah,
thing
we're
is
going to untangle it a bit for me.
pain, unresolved danger. And so again, the child
Good job, Jack.
tries
Want
to
to for a walk?
out of the way, tries to get resolved.
Come on, bud.
Emotion
Want
and
to pull? You feel better?
And so after a while, it's like,
Cool.
what do I do?
Very
What
good.
do I do? I
You
can't
went to
resolve
my
this
fucking
pain.
big have
So
you?
unresolved things really cause a child to feel all alone, must be my fault, unsafe.
I'm like really not so much cleaner. I went through it already.
So what that means, and here's what we're going to focus on tonight, is when a child has an unmet need of pain, they will then adapt. That's the key word for tonight, is the child adapt. So is all about adapting in order to try and get your needs met or in order to try to take the pain away. So it's adapt,
Okay.
adapt.
No,
Adapt in order
Nope.
to survive.
you need to stop.
You'd stop in order to survive.
His front stool was arrested after threatening to kill his neighbor with kindness. Kindness is the word written on a machete owned by
You hear that?
Dad who calls the cops because his son is getting too much homework.
Yeah, but they weren't answering his phone call. No, I called the police about like my school fucking not listening to me and like about the kid, and then they stopped answering the phone calls. I'm like, nah, you can't really do that. If the kids go to school there, you have to answer the phone. Like, and he's actually a super guy who's like, oh, send the police to my house. That's what I pay for you guys to do. I don't pay to come like when I call you guys to I have a problem, you guys come to me, not the other way around. Like I was like, I very much agree with this statement. Like
We were contacted by CBS and said they didn't want the conflict because they couldn't handle perhaps at the same time it'd be difficult for people to make a decision. So we've got this, the final match. You've got to be very excited, Mark. Well, you know what? It's been a stressful couple of days. The online betting people in the community have been on me consistently. I'm being offered bribes left and right, everything from a 1982 Toyota to a bag of small unmarked Canadian bills. There's a lot of pressure here. And frankly, I'm happy this is over because I need to have my life back again. Even whether I'm wearing pants right now. So this is what they're betting on. It's not easy. It's not easy, Jim. All right. Let's get in to the final battle here at Mark Madness. Bets are all in on what will be an exciting match. We have two final stories in our final of Mark Madness. Representing Florida, the winner of the Florida bracket, the guy who threatened to kill a neighbor with kindness, which was the name of a machete. According to investigators, Brian Stewart was arrested after threatening to kill his neighbor with kindness. Kindness is the word written on a machete owned by Stewart. The Pensacola News Journal says Milton cut the man with a machete. The victim suffered a half-inch cut on his hand. All right, killing with kindness. The machete is up against 4 squatters who won't leave a house, throwing parties with strippers and horses.
There was always something going on in that house. A lot of partying. They
you know what?
illegal strip club on the weekends. They would get
His neighbors come up with the like ridiculous like assumptions that like it's just like not happening. And then someone's like, yeah, no, we have strippers if you want to come by. Like they're like fucking just being assholes.
Just think about that and crunch the numbers. Again, the two are killing with kindness. That is a gentleman who named his machete Kindness. And the other story is for squatters. This is in Georgia. Of a house, they were squatting, and they had strippers in their parties and horses as well. All right, Mark, just tell us when you're ready to weigh in on who the winner is going to be, and we'll hit the music.
The jury is back, and I have a verdict.
All right, folks, let's get into it. The winner of Mark Madness, will it be the man in Florida who threatened to kill his neighbor with kindness, the name of his machete, or from Georgia, a 2 seed, a party with squatters, strippers, and horses? Mark, who wins the 2024 Mark Madness?
It's unanimous, Jim. It's going to be put your hands together for the lovely and talented Amber and her trusty sidekick Trigger. You gotta go with the strippers and the horses.
Strippers and horses in a house party. Unbelievable. Let's hear that report again.
Bro.
Something going on in that house. A lot of partying. They had a illegal strip club on the weekends. They would get live horses. One day they had live horses.
All these individuals were charged with various felony crimes.
Oh man, what an exciting time to be alive. Let's go live to Tony for his thoughts. Tony, your thoughts on the culmination of Mark Madness and it being the Georgia squatter house with strippers and horses?
Well, it is quite the party, and I would say that it definitely should be the winner.
Great insight. Thank you very much, Tony. Listen,
Great
Mark,
insight.
I couldn't have done this without you. And next year, don't answer the phone.
Absolutely, but my pleasure, guys. Always fun to work with.
Next year,
All
don't
right,
answer the
and
phone.
No,
You're
don't forget
so
Noah.
rude.
That week, that week popped is next here on the iHeart Talk Radio Network. We'll get actions as well.
Celestial celebrations across Canada. I'm Morella Fernandez. Tonight on CTV National News, marriages and milestone moments as a total eclipse crosses over North America. Full details tonight at 11 and TTVnews.ca.
Don't Big Loose Warehouse Blowout Sale.
So what the bullshit on the radio tonight? Great. Oh my god.
Doing my books, it's a bit like a time sponge. It's really time consuming.
I hate you. Shut up. I hate you.
Wow, it seems like a major phase has ended for Canada's most important bank, and if they don't make some changes soon, it could impact almost every single Canadian and their money. You see, this bank has a new problem, and this problem is the exact opposite of what it was before. The bank I'm talking about is the Bank of Canada, the big bank behind the scenes, otherwise known as the central bank, that has more power to make decisions that change the lives of every average Canadian than any politician or government agency does. And their plan will likely be impacted by new information that came out just a couple of days ago. We just got the new unemployment data for Canada, and it shows that the unemployment in Canada has increased by a total of 1%, just over 1%, just over the past calendar year. Now, that might not sound like a lot, but 1% of the population is 410,000 Canadians, because Canada's population is now 41 million people. And that brings our total unemployment rate up to 6.1%. That is 2.5 million people. And when we zoom out and look at this data over the past 60 years here, 6.1% where we are today isn't necessarily very high compared to the average over the past 60 years or so. But what I think is most important, or at least more important, is how quickly this number changes and the trends in the direction of this line. And that's specifically for how the Bank of Canada is going to use this new information. Let me explain what I'm talking about. See, the Bank of Canada has been watching this unemployment rate like a hawk, and in a weird way, they've actually been wanting Canadian unemployment to go up. Now you might be saying, Russell, like, why would Canada's most crucial financial institution want more Canadians to be unemployed? It doesn't really make sense, does it? But it all has to do with what the Bank of Canada's biggest problem, or at least their biggest fear, has been over the past 2 years, and how, in my opinion, that fear could be completely reversing as we speak. Now, how you might want to prepare yourself for this reversal later in the video. Time for a new chart. This is showing Canada's inflation rate over the past 10 years. And if you live in Canada, you'll not be surprised to hear that inflation had an absolutely insanely high period, at least relative to the past 20, 30 years. Recently, over the past couple of years, we saw this inflation spike up, largely as a result of the vast amounts of money that the Bank of Canada added into the economy during their COVID stimulus period to try to prop up the economy. So as a response to this inflation, the Bank of Canada then decided to push interest rates up to make people spend less money, which results in less demand and, in theory, less inflation, and it has caused inflation to head back down. So they raised rates and raised rates again, and even though they raised rates so rapidly, they were still afraid of inflation coming back, largely because of something that they learned from the past. Listen to this clip from just about a year ago.
We are trying to balance the risks of under and over tightening monetary policy. If we don't do enough now, we'll likely have to do even more later. But if we do too much, we risk making economic conditions unnecessarily painful for everybody. We've come a long way, and we don't want to squander the progress we've made. We need to stay the course to restore price stability for Canadians.
So he mentions a couple things there, this concept of over-tightening or under-tightening. Tightening is just referred to essentially how interest rates go. If they go up or down, if you're raising interest rates, you're essentially tightening the economy, and if you're lowering interest rates, you're essentially loosening it. So they're afraid of under or over-tightening. The main reason that they're most afraid of under-tightening, though, is because of what they learned in the past. When we take a look at the 70s here, this is that same inflation chart, and it is showing us the past 100 years now. We can see this sort of double dip action that happened right here in the 70s. This is when inflation went extremely high, above 12%, and then the Bank of Canada raised interest rates much like they're doing now and have been doing over the past number of years, the past couple of years. They raised rates and inflation looked like it was coming down, but then inflation came back and they had to raise rates even further in order to get it to come down and remain down over a sustained period. This resulted in even more economic pain for average Canadians because, well, they had to deal with higher interest rates for longer, which can be painful for people who are in debt or even businesses that need to take on debt to expand. So today's Bank of Canada and the Bank of Canada over the past few years has been looking at this and saying, hey, we don't want that to happen again. We don't want to under-tighten, and we don't want to cut interest rates too soon, lest we experience this second round of inflation that happened in the 70s. All of this is what's led the Bank of Canada to be super afraid of under-tightening or raising rates too little or not keeping them high for long enough, and less afraid of over-tightening or raising rates too much. But now, I think that this concern of under-tightening could be flipping itself on its head, and I'll explain why. I want to take a second to thank the sponsor of today's video, Crypto.com. I'll start off by saying crypto can be risky. It's not for everyone, and you can definitely lose what you put in. But more and more Canadians are including crypto as part of their investment portfolio, myself included.
Because
I first started getting into crypto for reasons that are largely related to what we've been talking about in this video, actually. It doesn't feel entirely right to me that a small group of elite individuals have so much centralized control over our financial system, and I'm personally interested in how crypto could be part of the solution to this problem. Yeah. And if you're Crypto.com is a solid place to do so. You can fund your account and choose from a selection of over 250 different cryptocurrencies, all with Canadian dollars.
But cryptocurrencies are now like paying people to use their money.
I tend to stick to the more tried and true Bitcoin and Ethereum. Now, additionally, if you choose to keep your crypto on the Crypto.com platform after you buy it, you can earn some interest via their Earn product. Now, over the long term, though, I do think that it's beneficial to learn about self-custody and to transfer your crypto to a cold wallet that's secured by a hardware wallet device that you personally control. So if you're looking to buy some crypto, make sure to check out crypto.com and use the referral code RUSS, R-U-S-S, or you can just click the link in the description of this video. And again, thank you to crypto.com for making videos like these possible. So the Bank of Canada has been completely honed in on not lowering interest rates too early to avoid this inflation repeat that they saw in the 70s. But this new unemployment increase that we just went over at the top of the video has some people saying that the Bank of Canada might have actually overdone it, and that they may have left rates at this higher level for too long. And personally, I don't blame people for having this concern at the very least, especially given the bank.
Thank you. Right, fucking Christ.
Go f yourself. You and all your fucking kind. Take all your kinds, choke them on a line, and put the books in fire.
This is from the end of July 2021. Now, the reason the data is important is because at this point in time, inflation had already started increasing past the bank's comfortable range. It was already above 3%, but inflation hadn't yet skyrocketed at this point. Now, despite the early warning signs, the Bank of Canada didn't do anything when they saw the start of inflation, even saying, hey, don't overreact to this temporary or transitory is the word that they always used. It's here today, gone tomorrow. This temporary inflation. That's what the Bank of Canada's governor, Tim Macklem, the same guy who we heard the clip of before, was saying in July of 2021. He even went on to say the Bank of Canada remains firmly committed to keeping inflation low, stable, and predictable.
You know that I was donating money to like Via?
You can be confident
they told me that they would never call me
again
again.
under control as
And
the
they
economy
didn't.
reopens after
They
COVID.
never did. I'm like, yeah, I donate money to
Even
Via
more,
again.
all these factors have driven prices up, but none of them are likely to last, so we shouldn't overreact to these temporary price increases. So this was the Bank of Canada's position at the time, but at the very same time, some economists were concerned, pointing out how they thought that these were actually early warning signs that we could see inflation, as we eventually ended up seeing, something many people actually expected would happen after the massive money printing operation called quantitative easing that the Bank of Canada operated to prop up the Canadian economy when we had to shut down as a result of COVID. So
The government is just like,
is
yeah,
it possible
we usually
that
do
just
it this
as they
way,
were
but
when inflation was on the way up, that they might be reacting too slowly this time as they're seeing these early signs of a potential economic slowdown? Now, some people are saying that the Bank of Canada should already be cutting rates. They should have already started, as business insolvencies and unemployment have been increasing over the past year. We're really going to have to wait and see what the Bank of Canada will do. They just got this data, but this Wednesday, just a few days from now, the Bank of Canada is going to be announcing whether or not they'll be cutting rates or if they'll be keeping them the same for a little while longer. But there is one thing that seems quite likely to me, and it's that this unemployment number will keep increasing. You see, more and more Canadians are recognizing that when you combine high interest rates with record-setting population growth, well, it turns out that a higher number of people end up unemployed as new Canadians fill existing low-wage jobs, simultaneously keeping those same wages low. This is that just a few years ago, or maybe even less time ago, would have had many people calling you racist to even question immigration policy and its economic impact on average Canadians. But now, it's something that even the Liberal Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, agrees with.
They might be in the cup front door.
There's been an about-face here.
Over the past few years, we've seen
That or they're on the
massive
bowl
spike
on the tea
in
table.
temporary immigration, whether it's temporary foreign workers or whether it's international students in particular that have grown at a rate far beyond what Canada has been able to absorb. Now we're at 7.5% of our population comprised of temporary immigrants. That's something that we need to get back under control, but also increasingly more and more businesses for foreign workers in a way that's driving down wages in some sectors. So we want to get those numbers down.
Definitely interesting stuff to hear that kind of language from the Prime Minister. But all this to say, in its entirety, we don't know exactly how the Bank of Canada is going to react to this new data. but it does seem likely that at some point in the future, central banks like the Bank of Canada will probably lower their interest rates. So, what can you personally do to put yourself in a good position for when this happens? Well, honestly, I think that it probably comes down to trying to play the same game that many of Canada's wealthy elites do, and to play the game by their rules, despite any potential distaste that we may have for them. And the main thing that they all do comes down to two words, and that's owning assets. It seems I share my thoughts on this more and more regularly in these videos, and it tends to sound a little bit vanilla to a lot of people, I think. And it's definitely not a silver bullet or something that will magically solve things, and it's also not specific, tailored financial advice for you. But I'm personally doing everything that I can to reduce my living expenses, increase my income, and investing the difference. And I think that you should probably consider doing the same yourself. I often tell people to look into investing in a low-fee, diversified index ETF and do that inside of a TFSA account if you haven't already. That's usually a good place to start. And for some people who are more comfortable with a little bit of risk, holding some other hard assets, be it gold or Bitcoin or Ethereum, is also an option. And I also know that it's easy to say that kind of stuff, but hard to do, especially when so many people are having a hard time making ends meet these days. But I do think that it's the only way to protect yourself and to protect your family. And nobody else is going to save you from the impacts of the manipulation of our financial system and the inflating away of the value of the dollars that we both earn and try to save.
Like, there will never be a time where fucking
the people who are more well off in Canada and those who aren't is only widening, and I don't see it coming back together, as sad as that is to say. So the way that I'm looking at it, I'm trying my best to own things that aren't as easily devalued, so that I can set myself and my family up for the future. And I think that's all.
I don't get this either.
Like, about everything we've covered in today's video. Do you think
anything I've ever got is free. If someone were to come up to me on the street trying to hand me money, I would be like, I don't want that. Because
have they already missed the mark? Have they already waited too long to lower interest rates? Do you think that this is going to have a potential negative impact on the economy? I don't think that anyone has a crystal ball to tell you for sure, but I'm curious what you think. What have I missed? What have I gotten right? Let me know down in the comments. I'm trying to learn from everyone who watches these videos as well, sort of some blind spots that I might have, so feel free to share down there. And if you haven't already done so, check out the links in the description. Thank you again to the sponsor of today's video, Crypto.com, and make sure to sign up for the email newsletter that I send out after every one of these videos with all the sources that I've used in additional bonus content. So I'll check you on there. But with all that said, thanks so much for watching, everybody. I really hope this video helped you out at least a little bit, and I'll see you next time.
It's not going in that little. Come on, you fucking.
What? You got it? Yeah! How did you do that? That's amazing. That's amazing. Good job. So that's a real good taste.
I know. That's exactly why I was able to do it.
That's good cutting.
If it's
it would have broken.
Yeah, if it was a cheap chain, it would have not. Because precious metal, when you just like it undo the nuts. But
the Bank of Canada is going to have to cut interest rates before the Federal Reserve amid a weakening economy, and to provide some offsets for the upcoming mortgage renewals in 2025 and 2026. This according to Philip Colmar, Chief Strategist at MRB Partners.
That's just a straight shooter with upper management
I find you got such great
widespread headlines in the summer of 2023 for saying that Canada was sitting on one of the biggest housing bubbles of all time.
And that, sir, is an idiot.
However, Colmar now says that housing market is being propped up by a strong economy, and if that economy starts to turn, the bank could be forced to cut rates before that of the Federal Reserve. And Colmar was not the only one, with the media and a number of economists arguing that the rise in the unemployment rate from 5.8 to 6.1 in March raises the chance that the bank will be cutting rates as early as June. However, Doug Porter from the Bank of Montreal, famous for calling nonsense on the argument that the pandemic price boom was due to supply and not due to free money, says that the unemployment data is putting the Bank of Canada in what Porter calls a tricky spot. So what I want to do today is go over Comer's interview with Bloomberg,
really nice.
take a look at why Doug Porter says the unemployment data has the Bank of Canada in a tricky spot, and then try to put everything together to summarize the choices available to the Bank of Canada at their upcoming meetings. The Bank of Canada is set to make its next policy decision this week on Wednesday, and a press conference to follow thereafter, and we'll obviously have an update out on both on this channel. Click like and subscribe if you want to get those updates, but for now, let's get into this interview. On to Comer's interview. As mentioned, Comer had noted and made widespread headlines in the summer of last year that Canada could be sitting on one of the biggest housing bubbles of all time. And now, Comer says that with unemployment rising and the economy weakening, the Bank of Canada could have to cut rates to keep everything from falling apart.
And the thing that's been holding it together has been a durable employment picture. So this is 1 month. I don't want to discount it that it's the beginning of a big trend, but the Bank of Canada does need to take note. If that starts to go, that's the thing that's holding housing and everything together when you're dealing with really painful mortgage resets. We've been arguing the BOC needs to offset those, but if employment starts to fray, they're going to have to offset it pretty fast.
And yeah, we've talked about this before, with RBC noting that in 2025 alone, about $315 billion in mortgages are set to renew at higher rates. And while we have seen rising mortgage delinquencies on the part of Canadians, we haven't seen that hit crisis levels as of yet. And Comer says that is due in large part to the strong economy. However, with unemployment rising from 5.8 to 6.1 in March, we could be seeing the Bank of Canada having to cut rates before that of the Federal Reserve.
The BOC needs to not think of it in the context of the U.S. The U.S. is in good shape, has solid foundations. Canada has pretty leveraged foundations here, so needs to consider it differently. It's been watching that timeline of the Fed, but I think it's going to have to go earlier. Certainly have to cut rates in order to provide some offset to those painful mortgage resets.
Yeah, that will definitely be a popular sentiment. But Comer is not making the point that those homebuyers from 2020 and 2021 who bought at ultra-low interest rates and ultra-high prices need to be bailed out. What he is saying is that Canada is in such a position of high leverage, in such a position of high household debt, including that of mortgages, that if we have those high rates combined with the high amount of household debt, in conjunction with a weakening, maybe even worsening economy, everything could very well fall apart.
What's the difference?
And we've talked about the link between the unemployment rate and the Bank of Canada before on this channel, in that for the past 50 years, the Bank of Canada has not ever, not once, lowered rates when the unemployment rate was below 6%. But, says Comer, while the central bank may be in a position where it needs to cut, not necessarily to bail out those mortgages coming for renewal in 25 and 26, but to ensure that those renewals don't come amid a tanking economy, the United States is in a very, very different position.
All fronts, the U.S. economy is strong. It's not just the employment. The spending picture is strong. Consumer confidence is still present situations of it. You've got the service sector's resilience. You've now got manufacturing bouncing back up, and you've got housing starting to refirm. So there's really no case on the economy front for rate cuts. It's really a policy mistake to do so.
And yeah, we received reports coming out of the U.S. on the same day that Canada got its unemployment data, showing that the U.S. added 303,000 jobs in March, while Canada lost 2,200, leading some to argue that the Federal Reserve might not even have to cut rates at all this year. Yields were up on 10-year U.S. Treasuries as traders feared that their bets that the Federal Reserve would be cutting rates imminently, and in a testament to which country's data matters for the future of Canada's economy.
Honestly, I just love that last video of Trudeau where they made it sound like he's at some kind of rally. Honestly, that motherfucker shows his face in public anywhere. I guarantee you, people are gonna be like fucking trying to confront him, be like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Like, sent the value of the Canadian dollar falling. If the Federal Reserve is going to be keeping rates higher than that of the Bank of Canada, meaning the U.S. government, which issues the safest debt in the world for now, is going to be paying more in interest than that of the Canadian government, then there's going to be more demand for U.S. dollars, as investors need U.S. dollars to lend the U.S. money, meaning lower means less demand for our dollars, lowering the value of those dollars. But what that also means is that a divergent interest rate policy can and will drive up the price of goods, as everything we import will get more expensive. So we have Philip Comer saying that the Bank of Canada is going to have to lower interest rates in the lead up to 2025 and 2026, especially in the lead up to those mortgage resets. But, as we've talked about before, doing so will increase the price of imported goods, will increase inflation. And Doug Porter of the Bank of Montreal, looking at the unemployment data, said that there's another reason why rate cuts could be a tough needle for the Bank of Canada to thread. Productivity is not keeping up with wage gains, with the unemployment data showing wage increases of 5.1%. Looking at this data, Porter noted that with productivity barely moving, these 5% gains will feed right into costs and threaten to keep inflation sticky. Yeah, and Deputy Governor of the Bank of Canada, Carolyn Rogers, addressed this idea at a speech on March 28th, noting that strong productivity helps protect the economy from inflationary pressures. If the economy produces more stuff and has the same amount of money, the overall price of that stuff should decrease. In contrast, if the economy has more money and produces less stuff, the price of the stuff that is available is going to increase.
No one told me about this.
And with wage growth coming in at 5%, not to mention the risk of a wage price spiral, this presents a real problem for the Bank of Canada.
I really love
the Bank of Canada
They're all
wants
really
higher
good.
rates. It wants to increase unemployment. It wants to increase unemployment and reduce the bargaining power of employees to drive up their wages. And while higher unemployment should work to reduce some of those wage pressures, it obviously hasn't done so as of yet. So we have a weakening economy putting more pressure on the Bank of Canada to lower rates. However, those lower rates, if they diverge too much from the Fed, will put upward pressure on prices, upward pressure on inflation. Further, we have the implementation of the carbon tax and growing pressures abroad, both of which could obviously put upward pressure on energy, putting upward pressure on inflation.
It's a nightmare.
Yeah, it's definitely an uncertain time. The Bank of Canada did
Best
want to see that
cutscenes, like,
rate rise,
honestly.
which I'm sure it's very happy to see, but it
Because
also
they're all
thought that rise
super
in
applicable,
unemployment
all
would
super
help to
fucking
contain
hilarious though.
wage pressures, which it obviously hasn't as of yet. Further, with the U.S. economy humming along and the Federal Reserve looking less and less likely to be cutting rates anytime soon, this adds another layer of complication for the central bank, which may want to cut rates in the lead up to 2025-2026 amid a worsening economy. But if the Fed is keeping rates high, that will put more pressure on our own price of goods, on our own inflation rate. Doug Porter noted in his statement that the bank will probably shift more to that of a dovish nature, more towards an inclination to cutting rates at its policy announcement this week, and we'll obviously have an update out on that announcement on this channel. Click like and subscribe if you want to get those updates, but for now, thanks so much for watching.
We wouldn't be arguing about whether there were women and men if things didn't need to be retooled from the very bottom. That's my sense of the situation now.
That is a critical conversation. Whether the God-shaped hole gets filled by God exactly is something maybe for us to discuss on the shows.
You're going to be joining me for the next 9 evenings on my We Who Wrestle with God tour, and I would like you to come armed with your sharpest sword and hold nothing back.
You've asked me to do something, generally speaking, I'm pretty good at, which is to be disagreeable and try to find holes in things. I'm going to be coming at it from a kind of first principles, uneducated, but I hope sufficiently intelligent perspective.
I think you could offer to the audience a really critical response that's thoughtful, so that I can see if there's still holes in what I've laid out, because I can't find any. That's what we're going to explore.
I can't wait.
That's amazing.
The history of the evolution of ethics in the last 10,000 years has been a history of the secularization of ethics. And it's still evolving. And we have issues today. We have issues about vegetarianism. We've given up cannibalism and slavery, but there's still no agreement on a lot of fundamental issues in ethics. But those agreements have nothing
Yeah,
to
but
do
sir, you
with
just
religion.
fucking compared cannibalism to vegetarianism. Like, they're so far off. Like, but like, then it's like that's not what he said. Yeah, and it happens to Jordan Peterson a lot of the time, where they're like, aren't worth anything. It's like I never said that. I didn't even get close to saying that. That's what you said, actually. So, but yeah, no, it's the insinuating thing that fucking bothers me. Like,
of the atheist movement that was being so influential over the last 20 years. And as many of you know, I've had many discussions with Sam Harris and a couple of discussions with Richard Dawkins, another one hypothetically forthcoming. And it occurred to me a couple of weeks ago that I hadn't spoken with Dr. Daniel Dennett. And I felt that that would be enlightening and necessary. And so today we talked about his understanding of the relationship between science and morality, the relationship between morality and the secular, and the relationship between morality, the secular, and the religious. And we exchanged our views about how those different systems of apprehension and conception might be interrelated. And
shut up. I hate this thing. So stupid. Really?
Welcome. See, now, what we'll start with, I don't normally get into the celebrity news. I don't normally, cover the stories, Taylor Swift changed her underwear today or whatever it is. I don't. But when the Israel
Taylor
lobby
Swift
gets
changed
involved
her
and
underwear today. Yes, that's the news.
And some of the richest billionaire Zionists in the world are connected into some of the biggest rappers and producers in the world. Now we're talking. Now we're getting
we're talking about
to the
Tupac
type
murder,
of thing
like,
that I would cover. So
that's like
that's
the
what
year
we're
I was
discussing
born.
today is the
30
billionaire
years
Zionists
ago.
involved in this massive ongoing lawsuits against P. Diddy and the world he created around the
Bro, what?
parties.
It's Suge Knight.
Yeah,
we all know it's
Suge
Suge Knight.
In just a moment.
Everybody knows this.
How Biden,
the guy's an asshole, and he's a zero talent. Money. It's the only. I'm done. The only thing about Suge Knight.
How does that math work out? We'll be getting into that in a few minutes.
And he's really the only one that would have anything to gain
trying
from
to
that.
save some time in this upcoming hour to destroy the propagandist, the Israeli propagandist that was debating Abby Martin on the Piers Morgan show, and Abby did an excellent job. I love Abby, good friend of mine. She is wonderful. But there were so many lies and so much garbage spraying out of that.
I have to run to the store for gelatin. I'll be right back.
That's true. I forgot to remind you.
Is there anything else we need at the store? Okay, then we'll run there and run back. Take off the earphones first. These fucking hearing cards, I don't see them.
Be safe, love. did. I see it. Okay, I'll come down. I'll come out to the video. Oh, okay. Yep. What's up? Not much. I work today, so I'm taking it easy. Yeah. Yeah. What's up? Oh shit, no. Thanks for offering though. Yeah. Probably more in weekends is gonna be more of a thing. Well, yeah, because I might not work in weekends at all ever. So. Let's check it out. It's supposed to rain for the next Wednesday to Monday. So what? Yeah, okay. Let's keep in touch and see how that goes. Oh yeah, okay. I'll tell her that. Yeah, cool. Right on. Fucking right. Yeah, I'll tell her when she comes back. Yeah, man. Anytime, right? Yeah, me too, man. Yeah, we'll definitely do that more often now. Yeah. Yeah. I gave a word today, and then because he was saying, it's not really safe to leave only one person on the work site, even if it's a one person job, in case anything happens, cut yourself, you fall down the scaffolding. So I was like, yeah, I got it, guys. So if you want to keep it in mind, and then he said, yeah, okay. So if as the job's gonna get bigger, as the week's gonna go by, we'll definitely need more people. So yeah, so no problem with that. Yeah. So, but I actually answered the phone. Oh. Oh.
Hi. But like, this is the heaviest shelf that has ever fucking picked up in my whole life. It's so sad. It's like $5. Well, you remember how what do you call it? The bin from like the machine maxis?
Yeah.
How bad fucking it was in the morning? And it would be like all the fuck parking lot, eh? Fucking yesterday when I went there, the complete opposite, they're like fucking vultures.
Oh.
They're like fucking like I don't know. I was going up to I parked next to the bin,
Mm-hmm.
and then like a guy in a little moped came up and was like, whoa, fucking, I'm gonna take this whole box kind of thing. Like, and it's all girl clothes. I'm like, hey, fucking chill out, like.
So, Justin called.
Oh, okay.
He says, thank you very much for the hospitality from last time. It was amazing. That your butter is amazing. Your wheat, all the wheat stuff was like super great.
Sorry, go ahead.
And then his girlfriend, she loves her earring. She wanted to. She wanted me to make sure that I tell you that.
I have more she wants.
And he was asking if we wanted to go hang out to paint and stuff. I'm like, well, I started work, so I'm like, it's more of a weekend thing.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go on Saturday to see if Sunday we want to go.
Okay, cool.
So, yeah, okay. Keep me posted. Ooh, exactly like the other ones we have. Like with a hood.
Yeah, it's like honestly. Who's that fucking is? That's like all the other stuff in the box. Let me take the whole box. Transformers.
Oh, no way, Bumblebee.
And a fish bait. I don't think
Transformer.
I don't wear it. I don't even care. This one I think I'll like.
Roll button.
Yo, it's always for you. I'm like, yeah, clothes. And then they're never
Yeah,
for me.
cool. You got different bunch of colors.
Ooh, I love that. This one I think will fit you actually. Oh, yeah. That's huge shirt. Yeah, this is most of the size of the clothes in the box. Like, I saw jeans, like, ooh, jeans. And then I just, like, pick them up, I'm like, no. Back to jeans. This is also another Jenny Moment shirt. What happened to you? We're going to teach you, like, go back into it. Well, I'm not so bust.
No. Transformer.
Like, this person was a normal person, and they got, like, a job at a restaurant, and they just became super fat.
Roll button is good.
Is that so fucking heavy, though?
Yeah. What are you doing? What is that? What you got? Now what you got? Show mommy what you got.
You know what it is, eh?
What?
It's one of those old mail things from an apartment building.
Oh yeah.
It's the old letter
Cool.
fucking thing.
Yeah, it is.
I was thinking putting shoes in it.
But no. It didn't fit. It's too small.
You're right. It was just like I saw it when I was on my way over there, and I was like, oh shit, and I couldn't remember which street it was on. And right at the end, I was like, oh yeah, Pine Beach. Crossing where fucking I saw that really nice other shirt. But what was it? Because, okay, so something I saw in that lady's video where she was making the fucking weed gummies.
Turn around.
Turn around?
Yeah.
Are you going to take a picture of my butt?
You're bandana.
Why? Why?
It doesn't take nice pictures.
Why are you taking a picture of my butt?
I want to send it to Justin. Your red bandana.
I'm in the dark.
Yeah, but it's fine that it's all blurred.
You know, people are gonna think I'm part of a gang. I'm not.
I'm not gonna send it. I'm just gonna show it.
You should.
What?
You should.
Send them?
Yeah.
Okay.
But get a better picture. Oh, interesting. Oh, interesting. Hey, gosh.
German companies involved in the military industry are directly profiting from the situation, and they have substantially increased their joint development contracts for weapons with the Israeli company. The bottom line, on whatever basis or definition a so-called right of self-defense is invoked, it can never serve to justify violations of the norms of the Genocide Convention or other norms of international humanitarian law. Germany seems not to be able to differentiate between self-defense and genocide. It is my honor to come before you representing Nicaragua in a case
I super agree with this guy.
as well as
We're fine.
the entire international community.
We're fine.
And most importantly, those of the Palestinian people.
Shirt out of it. Why'd you got tomato sauce?
Affecting the
There's
lives
$1.50.
of hundreds of thousands of people.
Yeah.
The destruction of an entire people. But in spite of the gravity of the
I was gonna get a
situation,
bunch more. No,
the
like
facts
fucking
and the
dumb
law
about the
are very
Mike's
simply
one.
explained.
And it was like, I was like, that's Mike's one. How much you pay for it? He's like, $5. $5? Are you kidding? For like, not like for 8 tomatoes, like for a can of fucking canned sauce.
Okay, fine, there's flavor in it. Like, come on.
Like, and don't tell me that because there's meat in it, because that's not meat. Like, I don't know what that is, but it's not meat.
When a situation of this nature occurs or is in danger of occurring, the obligation for all states are clear. Not only states must not abet the situation by aiding or assisting the perpetrator, but they must use their best efforts to ensure respect for these fundamental norms and prevent their breaches. With respect to these obligations, there are no third states. All states are under the obligation to respect them. They are erga omnes obligations. Germany has violated these obligations imposed on all states.
He's like, what am I looking at? Is that a red flag out the right side?
Yes, I told you the picture is shitty.
April 1984.
I said I should tell her. It should be on the left. I'll tell her.
An application against the United States for serious violations of international law against its rights and sovereignty. The present case is different, but it has its
Barry Raftery, a collision reconstructionist and forensic engineer, taking to the stand today as an expert witness for the defense. Raftery supporting the findings of Toronto Police's collision reconstruction investigation, which found that Constable Jeffrey Northrup was already on the ground before he was fatally run over. What? Previously, Detective Sergeant Jeff Bassingwaite, a collision reconstructionist with Toronto Police, said the evidence points to Northrup making glancing contact with the front driver's side fender of Zamir's BMW as it swung out in reverse. The force of that contact, he said,
it's the right side.
Northrup down towards the center of the laneway and put him on the ground before the vehicle moved forward. In his testimony, Raftery agreed with Bassingwaite's assessment. Quote, the officer was not struck while standing up. He didn't get hit by the front bumper, and he did not land on the
Interesting.
The defense's expert taking the jury step by step through his own process and how he landed on his conclusion. Raftery adding further analysis, pinpointing what he called a forward lower blind zone, where Officer Northrup, who he stressed would have been on the ground, would not have been visible to Zamir as he drove forward.
No shit, eh?
Now, all of this refutes eyewitness testimony from the 3 officers who were there that night in July 2021. All 3 of those officers testifying that they saw Northrup standing with his hands up, palms out, before impact. Prosecution will have a chance to cross-examine tomorrow morning.
Oh, fuck. So that means 3 cops lied about what happened because they did a forensic thing of a cop that I guess got hit by a car, but it seems like these 3 cops put him on the ground around the corner, so it looks like somebody hit him, like they were turning the corner too fast. But there's no way that they could have been hit standing up because he would have been hit on the top of the car. The damage was on the bottom of the car. That's fucked up.
So what happened?
I'm telling you, $5 says that the cops have been doing shit like this for a while, where it's like Beyond the Brotherhood kind of thing. It's like fucking staging shit to make it look like someone hit the guy, but like something else happened that's completely unrelated though. That's fucked up though. Like
make it look like it's something else.
Like how like homeless people like throw themselves on cars to get like insurance money kind of thing, but like if they're trying to cover up something that happened, like that's fucked up. That's scary actually, because that's like Toronto news. Is he okay? What's he doing?
Licking.
Oh, good. Okay. His balls or just licking?
Licking his balls.
Oh, good. That's bizarre. Oh, man. What is this, Cal?
Who needs marriage? You're above all that, are you? It's just a piece of paper. That's your argument. I'm going to tell you the truth. You might say, well, I want to be free to pursue what I want to pursue. satisfying your lust, you're satisfying your gluttony, you're satisfying your envy. What makes you think that those aren't gods that are ruling you? It's not just a metaphor that marriage is the bedrock of society. It's actually the bedrock of society.
Okay.
I was a therapist for a long time.
Tell me about how long it took you to build this and how you came up with the design.
Well, the design was based on what my personal needs would be.
Dan is the designer of what he calls the Cramper, a cramped camper on wheels. It took him nearly 6 months to build using some recycled.
Not impressed. Cal literally showed me his hole.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, are you serious? I can see, because I was like, I've been begging Fury for like 2 years at least to come to convince you to show me your hole.
Video that he took around and stuff.
Yeah, it's like super cool though. I was like, oh my God, you know how infamous your hole is? Like, I'm so, he's like, yeah, this is basically, but he goes into an apartment soon. I don't think it's gonna end up going for some reason. I don't know, I also kind of think they're a fucking scam. That stupid organization. I was not impressed.
So I texted him that you had more earrings for his lady, and that Sunday would be great for hanging out / venting. She's super happy you guys like the goodies.
5 years ago. 5 years ago of the homeless guy. Okay, whatever. Bullshit.
Can I know something like 5 years ago?
No, the homeless guy. And it's like a fucking homeless fucking thing on wheels, but it's from 5 years ago. So that's hilarious, honestly. I can't. You okay, Jack? Oh. Ew, this smells.
It's your bottom of the bag.
Oh.
Put it there. And some MK Ultra. Maybe you just don't like the MK Ultra.
Oh, fucking lose my shit. Seriously? Oh, he's doing it again. Okay, so.
What the science is showing us is the universe appears to be alive.
Our series on shame, and what we've done, if you haven't been here, is in my mind, shame is one of the most important topics to discuss with people that come out of childhood trauma. It is something that happens subconsciously that they don't even realize and often aren't aware of, but it's a core belief that they develop that basically says the reason I am being neglected or abused or I've been abandoned and my needs aren't being met consistently is it must be my fault. Something is wrong with me. I must not be lovable. I must not have any value. And that core belief, once it takes root and shape within the person, begins to affect everything they do. And when they go to get into a relationship in the future, it makes a healthy relationship impossible. And so we spent 3 weeks trying to identify what shame is, help you understand it, help you begin to see it in your life. And I hope that you've been able to do that. So what I decided to do tonight, you
a test. And you don't know it, but on that sheet that you are given, you're going to find not the normal PowerPoint, but you're going to find a test. So the question that I get asked all the time is if shame happens at a self-conscious level, I didn't become aware that I had shame as my core identity until I started coming here. How can I tell how much shame is showing itself? How can I tell how my shame has worked itself out in my life? So this test is 42 characteristics of shame. And I might add a few extra to throw in for free as we go through it together. But here's what I want you to do. If you have a courage and you don't mind people looking over your shoulder to see what you wrote down, but I want you to, on a scale of 1 to 10, rate yourself on each question. So we're going to go through 42. So 1 means it's not really an issue at all. 10 means this is a massive issue. So you can rate yourself on each question, and then at the end, we're going to tabulate just kind of how big shame is an issue for you. And the second thing that you can do, and this is optional as well, but you might want to do scale of 1 to 10, what I was like a year ago, and a scale of 1 to 10 of what I'm like today in each of those areas, and see if there's been any growth in those areas in your life. So I'm going to read them out as we go, and you can do the marking down and grade yourself. I will explain some of them as we go to make sure everybody understands. So are you ready? Number 1, have core belief like I'm bad, I'm weak, I'm unlovable, undeserving, inept, unattractive, stupid, powerless, worthless person. Any of those, rate the intensity of that belief in your life. Okay? Second one, excessively zealous, defensive, rigid, dogmatic. So a couple things with that. If somebody says something to you, how quickly do you become defensive about stuff? How quickly do you take things personally and then get defensive? That's part of that. Secondly, is how much are you, it's rigid in your thinking. You only want to look at things one way. Don't mess with my thinking. I don't want to see any other point of view. It's my way or the highway. And you have that very rigid type of thinking inside of you. Or the third part of that is you like to take on projects. And you go 100 miles an hour with great zeal on your latest project, then you get bored, then you jump to the next project with great zeal and go on like that. So that's all included in number 2. Number 3, habitual self-centeredness and egotism. Now, it's easy to think that a self-centered person's got a big ego and is bragging all the time. What I do to help people with that is I say, you can be very self-centered and never talk about yourself. But if there was a group photo taken and somebody showed you the group photo, who would you look for first? Yourself. That's what that self-preoccupation, that self-centeredness is about. Number 4, constant belittling, discounting, criticizing yourself and or others. So your negative thought world is predominant. It's kind of your default. Number 5, repeatedly choosing menial jobs below your personal capabilities.
Never again.
Or the other part of that is you avoid responsibilities excessively. So the word commitment scares you to death because that makes you have to be responsible. And you don't want to have to get locked into that. Okay, number 6, some of you are nudging each other already. Having 1 or more active addictions to substances, including fat, sugar, carbohydrates, activities like work, spending, gambling, pornography, working out, certain relationship, codependency, emotional states like excitement, rage, anger, spiritual ecstasy, sexual arousal, or sexual release. That's number 6. Some of you are putting 15 instead of 10 on some of these, and I get that. Compulsion, number 7, to rescue needy or disadvantaged people, championing and identifying with the underdog. So you're always rescuing people. We've talked about that a lot. Number 8, habitually avoiding eye contact or being apologetic that you don't look at people in the eye, or being defensive if somebody challenges you that you don't look them in the eye. Number 9, excessive social isolation or compulsion to socialize.
Really?
Questions are going to go
because they turned up yesterday after you were somewhere.
Extremes. So the
I
one
don't
is
know where,
isolate
but
from
like
all
it
social,
literally
the other
just
is
like
I can't
do
stop
do
being
do
in
do
a
do do
social
power
environment,
off. I
and
was like,
have to be
ah, what the
charming
fuck
and
was
the
that?
center of attention. Number 10, having few or no real friends. Now we're not talking about superficial casual friends. We're talking about real friends, or being consistently drawn to other unrecovered, wounded, needy companions and partners. So who are you attracted to if you are attracted to people? 11, a general suspicion and mistrust of other people, even or especially when they're trying to be nice.
Yeah.
You suspect some hidden motive. Number 12, excessive sensitivity and defensiveness to perceived criticism, not necessarily real criticism, and perceived rejection. So being very sensitive to whether people are criticizing you or rejecting you. 13, concern with personal or social blame and fault finding. So preoccupied with blame of yourself, of society, finding fault with yourself, with society.
Feels like a dream, feels like a I got you. Thank you.
I got you.
Nope, right there.
14, often misperceiving neutral feedback as being criticism and or wrongly assuming unspoken criticism. 15, feeling irrationally guilty. So you're feeling guilty, but you haven't done anything wrong, or getting anxious about earned successes. So this is known as the imposter syndrome, where you feel like you're being a fraud or a phony when you're recognized for an accomplishment.
Never.
16, obsessing about my rights or I don't deserve anything. 2 ends of the spectrum. Or obsessing about equality and fairness all the time as being one of your real hot buttons.
Well, it should be for everybody.
17, endlessly focusing on past mistakes that you made in public or in private. Number 18, habitually putting your own opinions, needs, and welfare last versus seeing you as equal to other people. 19, having an unreasonable fear of failing, losing, or making mistakes. 20, never admitting mistakes or compulsively apologizing all the time. So we're almost halfway done.
Oh, jeez.
So if you're starting to see maybe you have some shame, good, that was the purpose of this test. 21, habitually unflattering, inappropriate, and or sloppy clothing, grooming, or hygiene. In other words, you dress like a tramp because you feel like a tramp. 22, obsessive concern with personal, professional, social, vehicle, or dwelling appearances. The other extreme, preoccupied with how you look and how everything that you own looks. Image. 23, compulsive perfectionism and explaining to your friends or justifying to your friends, I just can't help it.
No.
And are driven with a need to win. 24, rarely buying anything something nice or special for oneself, or taking fun trips or vacations because you feel you don't deserve it, or it would be a waste of good money to waste it on yourself. 25, compulsively shading the truth, lying directly or by admission. So you don't say what you just say. 95% of what you did today, you admit the 5% you don't want them to know. That's a form of lying. Denying it to avoid expected ridicule, criticism, or disapproval. Also a symptom of lots of fear. So the need to lie because you're afraid of how others will react if they knew the truth. 26, notable self-neglect. Examples, resisting or avoiding appropriate medical care. Afraid to go to the doctor because you're afraid of what you might find out. Okay, rarely or never seeing a doctor, a dentist, gynecologist, eye specialist for checkups or illnesses, not getting or taking medications that are prescribed, poor personal hygiene. 27, avoiding self-assessment for psychological wounds and or true personal recovery. Living by the thing that says, that's in the past, I'm not going to look at it. It doesn't affect me now. I refuse to look at how any of that might have affected me. Avoidance of looking at that stuff that might be painful. 28, choosing unhealthy diets or habits, including smoking, lack of exercise, and or putting yourself into toxic environments, ignoring, deflecting, minimizing, explaining, analyzing, or joking about this. So you go, yeah, I got lots of unhealthy habits. Yeah, I go out with unhealthy people. I hang around, and then you make a joke about why it's not a big deal. 29, deflecting, discounting, and or rejecting deserved compliments, being very hard on yourself. So if people give you a compliment, you have some way of deflecting it so you don't absorb it. Number 30, chronically giving time and energy to others and getting little or nothing in return. So you give more than you get as your normal in relationships. Number 31, repeatedly choosing, justifying, and tolerating relationships, situations, and environments which promote shame in you. So letting yourself stay in a relationship where it feeds into your shame, letting yourself being in environments that cause you greater shame and doing nothing about it.
I spend a lot of time going and working with neuroscientists to hack my brain. Just like I go to a gym to work out, I also go to these highly expensive neurotraining facilities to train my brain so that I can willfully go into these different states. I go into theta regularly for ideas, and I go into delta to bend reality. What is also being observed right now is that people who are able to get to the delta level tend to be very lucky. They tend to be billionaires. They tend to be very creative. They tend to be lucky. It's like the universe has their back. Be fast. This is also being studied. So I actually am one of 5 people in the world who do something called delta training. And delta training is basically where you train your brain to be able to create ripples in time and space and influence reality. I want to show you a little bit of what that looks like. This is me at one of the neurotraining facilities. These machines actually exist. This type of training is not cheap. It's bloody expensive. Neuroscientists are working with you. And that's a 3D printed helmet that's influencing the brain. But what I'm going to try to teach you here are some ways you can access these states on your own. So if you like the idea I just shared, watch the video that's about to follow, because we're going to go deeper into the idea of how your mind can access altered states and open you up to new human abilities that only a few people have access to, but are really available to everyone who know how to unlock these abilities.
Unlock these abilities. Okay.
32, being unable to do this exercise. Going, this is stupid. Okay, some of you just put 10 by that one. 33. You didn't know that we would sneak that one in there. Repeatedly taking risks that result in self-harm, humiliation, and or loss of self and social respect. Denying or justifying an active addiction is a common example. So you're not purposely killing yourself, but you're flirting with all kinds of dangerous stuff and somehow justifying it to yourself and others. 34, rarely requesting or demanding what you want, or doing so anxiously and expecting rejection rather than calmly asserting what you need. So to ask for help, to express a need or desire causes anxiety in you, and you resist doing that. 35, tolerating and or justifying a core belief like, I don't deserve or expect success, love, security, comfort, friends, or nice things. To say that is, I think the best I'll do is to get a few crumbs of love, and I'm okay with that. 36, we're almost done if you're sweating. Being timid, passive, quiet, reserved, or aggressive, self-centered, and a bully. Two ends of that extreme. 37, not setting or enforcing holistically healthy limits or boundaries with oneself and others. So you're not good at setting boundaries. You're not good at making rules for yourself and then following those rules. You're great at making rules, it's just following them. That's the problem. 38, self-sabotage. Repeatedly setting yourself up for failure, disappointment, frustration,
the chocolate mousse thing.
and feeling or saying, I can't help it, it doesn't matter, I don't care, I don't deserve it. So you sabotage all the good things that are happening in your life. 39.
What's good in my life?
Frequently choosing long-suffering victim, saint, or martyr roles in key relationships and social settings and not questioning why. In other words, if you start looking at your relationships, you begin to realize, why am I always the victim? And why am I always the one that's making all of the sacrifices? And then you never question yourself. You just keep repeating.
I know, it's so hard. It makes so much sacrifice.
After relationship.
You want a bite?
40, choosing a direct contact human service profession.
I don't like mousse.
I like mousse. Being a pastor,
I also don't like mousse, like
medicine, being a doctor, education, being a teacher, law enforcement, being a cop, or probation, or corrections, consulting, coaching, training, driver vehicle,
It's very strong meat.
customer service.
Very gummy.
So you always need to be in a healthy.
You don't eat a lot because it's hard to digest.
41, shame, anxiety. The fear of
Feels like eating an uncooked sausage.
So not only do you know
Oh my god, I'm eating another one.
Well, it was moose sausage in all fairness, but yeah, no, it tasted literally like eating like uncooked animal.
It's better than mousse.
Probably. I'm not willing to find out.
reliving traumatic memories
Don't
from
live
the
as long.
past.
I find it so funny, all the rabbits.
How did
I
you
bet that's what that lady was doing. She's
So
catching
here's
her showing
what
it.
I want you to do.
My old neighbors, they were like Slovakian or something like that. They used to hunt rabbit, catch them in little cages, and then they used to cut their fucking, slit their throats on and hang them from the kids' fucking swing set in their backyard to drain out the blood, and then they have a huge cauldron, and they would boil them and cook them in a giant cauldron that would stink the
Like
whole
a
fucking neighborhood. It was disgusting.
Rabbit's it's pretty much the only way you can eat a rabbit.
Really?
There's nothing on it.
Oh.
There's no out of the meat, so you want to tender it there so the meat comes out. Well, it isn't worth it. I mean, fish are. Can fish a fish instead of getting a rabbit? Like eat a squirrel and a skewer. You see the point of that? And it's something else.
So I've been baking and sitting the whole time.
Not a fish in a river without a fishing rod.
What?
You know how to fish in a river without fishing rods?
No.
You block the river with wood to make a little triangle opening, and then further up you make a one that stops completely, so they come in your little bassin, and then they stay there, and then you can just pick your fish.
I did not think of that.
Yeah. They teach you that. Yeah.
Because up north when we were fishing in the river, it's like a river that goes throughout the whole mountains, I guess. And we took a canoe. We started going up the stream. And we kept getting into little parts that were blocked because of fucking beavers. Beavers going fucking dams all the way down. I shit you not. This beaver, I swear to God, the whole summer was fucking with me. I'd go back for the week, and next weekend, it'd come back, be bigger. Like, what the fuck? Like, and like...
Not just one. Not just one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're like, yeah.
Well, I know that there's one at the quarry, and the thing had a tail. The tail was my whole leg.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that was just a tail.
Yeah, okay. That's a big fucking...
And it was like fucking, I was like, oh my God, it's a beaver. And it started coming up towards me. I'm like, look, he wants to make friends. And he just started slapping his tail against the water at me. And I was like, oh, maybe not. That sounds like that would fucking...
You want to share a cigarette?
Yes, sure. It's at the front door. Hey, did you fix it?
Did I fix what?
The bottom drawer?
What?
I don't know. That's the first time it's gone in.
Sportsman? Is that
No, the McDonald's.
Oh, they're here. Okay. I'm confused.
What do you want?
What bottom drawer? Oh, you mean to close? No, it was just something stuck underneath. It was a box.
So yes, you did close it.
Yeah, no, but I meant fix it on the thing so it's back on the river.
Yeah, but I've been trying to close it for like fucking months. Okay, but I was slamming the shit out of it. There's no way it was just a cardboard box.
Yeah, it was a nice square empty sandwich box. Sandwich bag box, like this one.
Okay. Can I help you? Okay, you're gonna have to help me then.
What?
You're gonna cut vegetables for me. Sit down. You can sit down and help me.
I'm sitting down.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Is that you?
Yeah.
Must be the tacos from last night.
Tacos from just now.
Mm. Okay. It's like you should actually keep that.
That?
Yeah.
Well, it's not really healthy to cook with fucking grease. You might as well have like lighter oil. This is very like cooking with that. Jesus. Butter. Huh?
Gross.
Okay. Okay. Jack, please. Okay.
On daddy, on daddy. I'm gonna take the first layer off.
Yeah.
But you're actually better at knowing what onions.
Knife underneath the second, right there.
Wait. Underwear? Right here?
Yeah. Thank you.
Sure, just do all that sheet. Hmm? I'll get you a potato.
Huh?
I'll get you a bowl. Okay.
That goes for my this?
All of it. What? It's for the bad stuff? Okay. What?
It will be more as we go.
Well, I'll get the garbage over here.
Okay.
Okay.
The significance leaving many to swoon over the solar sight.
I think it was beautiful.
For the youngest, soaking in today's eclipse meant
We're gonna hear about it for the next year.
Oh, it's like when AC/DC came. It was like a year of AC/DC before, and it was like 3 years of AC/DC after, and they're like, hey, remember when AC/DC came? I'm like, oh my god, I used to actually like AC/DC. Now you guys made me fucking hate them. It's ridiculous.
It's a good point you make there.
Everyone's still an idea about the phone thing.
I had that experience. I was just saying off air.
Small.
Very small?
It's small. Like stir fry small.
And you went off about the Federal Reserve.
There is no authority in the Constitution authorizing a central bank, which
Yeah.
means there should be no
That's judgment, yeah.
Hello, Jordan Sheridan, live status coup. Hope everybody who could see the
What?
article was that one of the glasses, you know, whatever
Oh my
they're
god.
called, one of the glasses that people were ordering got recalled because I guess it was a scam. But a lot.
So now, because we're running low on time, and I do want to get to Diddy. And is there anything? So, with this investigation that's been going on into P Diddy or Diddy or what, I don't know what he goes by these days.
Oh my god.
I don't know what his official name is. Is there does it look like, because you've been investigating that scandal as well, does it look like that scandal is similar to these other scandals?
That's an ad on my YouTube right now.
Oh, wow.
What the actual fuck, though?
So,
What the fuck is wrong with people? That's disgusting.
person to be tried, and it was in the Southern District of New York, and that U.S. attorney is Andre Damian Williams Jr. And he was the one that spearheaded that case. And
Justin Trudeau and the Liberals are on the brink of losing absolutely everything. There are protests that are erupting all over the country for different reasons. And two of the big ones is the carbon tax or affordability by the freedom movement and these Palestinian protests to, call for the end of the war or a ceasefire.
Okay, it's on 1.25.
Before we get into it, I want to encourage everyone to smash
And it
the button.
sounds like he's talking the speed. No, 1.5. It sounds like the normal speed he should be talking at.
I have another channel called House Canada, link to that is down in the description, and I put out a challenge to the viewers and subscribers of the community. Once that channel reaches 100,000 subscribers, which if you check, it's surpassed that by quite a bit, I will be personally going to Ottawa to watch one of the next question periods live. Well, that moment has come, and I'm going there this week. So you're not going to want to miss out on that because some really cool things are going to be coming out from that. But without further ado, let's get into this video. So you've got a little bit of movement in the polls, not in the direction that we're anticipating. The Conservatives have actually lost 2 projected points, but not to worry. They're still sitting above the 170 seat projection, or the 170 seats that you need for majority. They're at 180 baseline, 208 right smack dab in the middle, 226 on the high end. And when you look at the odds of winning the most seats, the Conservatives are still at 99% likely to win with a 99% likelihood of winning a majority. So the little bit of movement, it's gone backwards a little bit, but the saying, sometimes you got to take one step back to take multiple steps forward. Now we have a video of Pierre Poilievre at a recent press conference that Wall Street Silver has posted on X. Let's take a look.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much.
Would you rather this knife?
Justin Trudeau has a radical agenda to massively expand the size, cost, and power of the federal government, which comes at the expense of working people, seniors, votes out everybody, including the premiers. He wants to dominate over all of the regions of Canada and impose his will. He's imposed an unconstitutional Development Law C-69 and a backbreaking carbon tax opposed by 70% of premiers and Canadians. If Justin Trudeau is so sure of his plan to quadruple, he should have the courage to sit down with our premiers and explain that to them, because they oppose his plan. They know that his tax is going to take money away from hospitals and schools who have to spend more on their energy, take money out of more assistance to people who can't afford to eat. It will force more social breakdown because people can't keep it together. But he should have the courage to sit down with the premiers and explain why he believes he needs even more money. In every single tax applies, middle-class Canadians pay more than they get back, according to the parliamentary budget officer. And the Prime Minister, by the way, he should stop gaslighting and attacking the premiers.
There you go. He does need to stop gaslighting and attacking even Canadians, not just premiers. You have the federal government at every level telling us that everything is okay. The Liberals are saying it's okay. Everything's okay. Affordability is where it needs to be. That's why we're increasing taxes.
This is okay.
Fight climate change. Well, let me just ask you, the viewers, do you want to pay more taxes to fight climate change and take on the responsibility of fixing the world's climate change? Because you can't just fix climate change for Canada. That's not how that works. We don't live in a liberal bubble, but trying to take that on. So I'll pass the question off to you guys. Please let me know down below in the comments what you think. Next up, we have another video from X here, another testimony of unaffordability. Let's take a look.
I currently am being charged over $200 a month for a carbon tax. My refrigerator, I didn't buy groceries last pay period. You know what? There's an extra $40-something on my gas bill, $187 on my hydro bill. I feel my SUV at the work. Used to cost me $70, cost me $98.
Holy crap, man.
I feel nauseated at the gas station. I was going to buy myself a little ginger ale to drink on the way to work. A can of ginger ale, 12-ounce can, was going to cost me $3.49.
Oh, my God.
It's wrong. It's sad. It shouldn't have to be this way. Canadians are suffering. And I'm not suffering near what a lot of people are suffering. I've seen people write death notes, posted on Twitter, single mom wanting to end her life.
Oh, shit.
She said her 9-year-old daughter. It's sad. I work full time. I've always worked hard. I'm a personal support worker.
So this is the thing that the Liberals just aren't understanding. That the average wage in Canada, just off the top of my head, $75,000, somewhere around there. And that barely covers rent or mortgage, car payment or fuel, insurance, food, additional expenses. It barely covers your overhead expense. People for years have been living paycheck to paycheck, and now you're adding in all these additional taxes. So people have literally written down on pieces of paper or in spreadsheets or on notepads, on their Apple Note, whatever it is. People have literally pinched down to the penny. Here's how much I pay for a can of ginger ale or Coke. Here's how much I pay for my eggs that I buy every Monday or every Sunday when I do my grocery run. People have pinched for years, and the government
but like, so,
go ahead and tackle on.
You know what? I very much also enjoyed shopping at IGA because I get to hear a live band while I pick up my fruits and vegetables during Christmas time. And it was very nice while that lasted. However, like, that's the reality is, like, yeah, sometimes you don't. Sometimes it's fucking stupid to pay the extra dollar for fucking your comfort in what grocery store you shop at, even though they're all fucking in it together.
Not affordability, but AI. Let's take a look at this very heartbreaking video. Our theme for budget 2024 is fairness for every generation. To drive the kind of growth that will move the needle for Canadians, particularly for young Canadians like millennials and Gen Z, we need to make strategic investments that will create jobs, enhance productivity, and maintain our position as a world leader in technology sectors. We need to make strategic investments that will empower entrepreneurs, small businesses, and Canadian workers, the best workers in the world. So today, I am announcing that our upcoming budget will include measures to create good jobs in our AI sector and to boost productivity by helping businesses adopt AI with an investment of $2.4 billion. First, to provide access to world-leading computing capabilities here in Canada, we will invest $2 billion to launch a new AI Compute Access Fund and a new Canadian AI Sovereign Compute Strategy. You know where he's getting all this money is from us. He's gouging us, and then he's spending all of that money on a bunch of nonsense that isn't going to fix anything. AI isn't going to fix affordability. Trudeau is delusional. You have people, like middle class, middle upper class, even people, thousands and hundreds of thousands that are suffering.
Welcome down here to the reality with the rest of us.
Wow, look at that family. They have a household income of $100,000. They are living life. Now $100,000. What does that get you in Canada? It gets you maybe a mortgage, maybe a used car, and maybe you get to eat steak twice a week. I don't even know. Who knows what the value of money is right now, but it's not what it used to be, and Canadians are so pissed off at Trudeau's delusion. That's why you have people in thousands come across Canada who are getting together, and they are going after the carbon tax through protests. Let's take a look.
We are on the Quebec side of the Ontario-Quebec border. Slow rolling.
Ah, it's Ganawage!
Somebody's got a bill, Snooty. Extra tax. Thank you. Yes, sir. Thank you. We're getting ready for an eclipse viewing here. Quick slow roll before the eclipse.
We got people all across Canada that are absolutely fed up with Justin Trudeau, and it's not just the freedom community. Okay, it's above and beyond that. You have Palestinian protests that are swarming by the thousands, and it's getting a little bit out of control. There's a photo here of a well, someone's calling it a Hamas supporter wearing a symbolic unalive vest. I don't want to say a Palestinian protest attendee who's wearing this as a symbolic means, and I think that's a little bit inappropriate. You have the comment section saying double standards. You have people saying that these are smoke grenades. Better. It seems like that's still illegal, regardless of what this is. It seems like I mean, they got pins in them, so yeah, it doesn't seem like an unalive vest. Does seem like they are smoke grenades, and it seems like that's a bit of an illegal thing to bring to protest. Nonetheless, you have look at the swarm of people, thousands of people outside of Parliament here, just waiting every single weekend to show their solidarity for ending the genocide in Gaza. Here you go. And this happens every single weekend. And I know there's a lot of controversy with the between the freedom community or animosity rather between the freedom community and Palestinian protests. And as long as everything is kept peaceful, I think everyone should have the right to protest whatever it is that they want here in Canada. But it seems like there's a line that's about to be crossed or has already been crossed with these Palestinian protests. We have actual apparently communists that are protesting. It's getting a little out of hand. The communists have entered the fray. We have an entire procession of communists, Palestine, hammer and sickle. Funny enough, all these people support this song. Now, of course, most people feel absolutely horrible with what's happening.
Oh, but not horrible enough, apparently.
All of the innocent lives that have been stuck in the conflict, and all the innocent lives, children, women,
but
that have been taken. That's absolutely sad.
Wait for it.
And something should happen to.
Wait for it.
To that. But what about the
there it is.
Precedent for actually protesting and celebrating communism?
You're fucking garbage. Eat fucking shit. Fucking
odd.
sheeple.
You had even during the freedom convoy, you had people that got beaten up for holding hockey sticks, and that's not a smoke grenade. It's not an actual explosive. It's just a hockey stick to play hockey with. I mean, where's the line crossed? Has it been crossed? Is there a double standard? I'd love to know what you guys think down below in the comments. And of course, you have even more chance of bigger protests. It seems like this might have been in Toronto rather than Ottawa.
Viva, viva Palestina! Viva, viva Palestina! From the river to the sea! From the river to the sea! Palestine will be free! Palestine will be free! From the river to the sea! From the river to the sea! Palestine will be free! Palestine will be free!
That was awesome.
Now, of course, just like any protest, there's always going to be a bad intention in there that likely doesn't have anything to do with the original protest organization, or is just not a part of trying to sabotage or include their own agenda. So I think you have to be very careful to find line to discuss Palestine protests when you're talking about it. A lot of people have seen it referring to Hamas protests. I don't know if that's an accurate statement. I'm going to stay clear about it. I'm just going to say Palestine protests. Of course, there are some people that you've seen it on mainstream media even, and Trudeau just covered it, Rebel Media's covered it, and I've even made videos about it in the past, where there have been people that have been very vocal that they support Hamas at these protests. Now, Hamas has been deemed as a terrorist organization internationally. Every Canada recognizes Hamas as a terrorist organization. Most first world countries recognize Hamas as a terrorist organization. So, bunching that whole protest with that ideology, I don't know if that's the right way to go, but nonetheless, it seems like there's a bit of a double standard. But you also have Toronto police that has come out and said it's caused these protests alone. The Palestinian protests alone have cost Toronto police alone $12+ million since October 7th, October 9th, when the protests started breaking out.
Yeah, no, fucking, how are you guys gonna do your policeman ball now?
Taking this a little bit more seriously.
Always, only in Toronto.
And next up, we have Justin Trudeau with a press conference. We've seen his premiers misinforming Canadians wanting to take away Canada carbon rebate checks. Not a good look for Justin Trudeau. Let's take a look at this.
This is about the carbon tax. 6 premiers have asked for a First Minister's meeting with you. You have so far not committed to anything. What does that say to the discussions with premiers and federalism?
I continue to have robust discussions with all premiers over the past months. And I will remind people that we had a First Minister's conference on the environment and on climate change.
This is very much like when they were like, oh, you guys need to move your boats or they're going to be impounded. And they're like, well, to where? And they're like, that's not really our problem. We told you guys like 2-3 years ago that we were going to be taking that part of the canal for the police so they can park their police boat. Like, yeah, but like, where else are we supposed to go dock our boats then? Like, They're like, I don't know what the thing, like the problem is. Like we told you guys. It's like, okay. Seems like we're at a standstill here again.
Every few months in the pockets of Canadian families. Canadian families, middle class and lower income families, get more money with the Canada Carbon Rebate. Economists are clear on this than they do without it. And it is a powerful tool representing about a third of our fight against climate change and our ability to reduce emissions. If the premiers want to propose, individually or collectively, another way of fighting climate change and supporting affordability for Canadians, I'm all ears. But right now, all we see is premiers misinforming Canadians and wanting to take away the Canada Carbon Rebate checks that are making a huge difference in people's lives.
It's so annoying that he keeps saying it's misinforming when you have actual people like Pierre Poilievre and Conservative Party Canada and other federal MPs and even Danielle Smith, Premier of Alberta, that have crunched the numbers and they've said that no, they're not getting back more than what you put
when
in.
they
It's
like
costing us
fucking
on
give
average
them
$2,000
numbers for their
$3,000
own
per person,
plan.
and you get back $1,500 or $1,800. That's like me saying to you, hey, do you have a $20 bill? Give me your 20 and I'll give you $12 back. Now, in that $12, you get 2 5s and a toonie, which that's 3 pieces of currency versus the one that you give me. So you're getting back more in return than what you're actually putting in. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense unless I'm just absolutely on the spectrum and I'm missing.
No,
something.
you don't know number. You don't know how to count. It's probability. You don't understand it.
It doesn't all make sense. Please let me know, because sometimes when Trudeau speaks, I feel so gaslit that I feel myself going a little bit insane. That's where we're gonna end today's video, folks. I'd love to know what you guys think down below in the comments. On your way out, of course, I'd love to encourage you guys to smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't yet already, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.
Like what? All the seeds grows in those peppers or what?
Okay. Weird.
Not OMG at all.
Why?
I couldn't work in the kitchen, that's for sure.
What?
I could not work in the kitchen.
Why?
Well, I mean, like a normal, like a prep.
Why?
My hand hurts right now.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Everything's stiff.
Oh.
I barely can hold my leg.
Sorry, baby.
Oh, what is this? Ooh.
Kinda, yeah. Kinda. And there's taco underneath it. It's just my brain did not put 2 and 2. Like I fucked it up.
Oh, that's amazing. I can't continue.
Okay. Thank you for helping.
Wait for it.
Oh, yeah. You put a lot of effort just to do that.
No, I just thought about.
You're I love you. Stop out!
I would put as many on, and if I knew it wouldn't fit.
But you know what? No, how am I supposed to do?
Huh?
I want to ruin you. I want to ruin them.
Everybody sit there, well, I don't know. Put them on each of our plates. Poop, poop.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know why I'm fucking so weird. They feel bad for the pepper tops.
When I accidentally kill an animal in my game, I usually reboot the game. I feel bad.
That's fucking sad and funny and sad. This is why I love you. Because I'm like that, where I'm just like, you know what? I literally see certain humans dying in like mass numbers. I'm like, nah.
The cow level in my game, I'm not doing it, and I refuse to do it because you have to kill 3 times 666 cows, but they're just bystanders. They're NPCs.
Oh.
They're not even monsters or anything. They don't attack, they don't defend themselves, and you can just hit them with random
sad
area attacks. And I'm like, I want to get all those poor cows.
That's fucked up though, kind of a little bit.
So I'm not doing it.
Good. As you should not.
Can I have a fork?
Fuck you.
Yeah, fork you.
Okay, hang on.
Thank you. You want some of this?
Yeah, okay. Hold on.
Yeah, getting it. Yes, I believe in you. You managed to do it.
Wait, please.
Anyway.
No.
Chicken feed. That's whatever. What is this? I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know either. You're kind of game grumps in so many games. It was here and it looked funny. Yeah. Dylan Bassett. It's a Dylan Bassett production. It's a Dylan Bassett joint. Yep. Come with me.
Better be boop.
Totally right. It just wasn't helpful. Yeah, that's for sure. It's like, okay, hello, my chicken friend. You know what? I'll take you places. No, please don't. I can't hurt him. He's just distressed. He'll be fine. You can hurt the chickens? Are you kidding me? I thought you could just swipe them and then then they go into panic mode and that's it. Oh, dude, go back up there. Well, I don't want to hurt the chicken. No, go up there. All right. Kill the chicken. You can kill it. Kill it. Kill it. Kill the chicken. This feels hard.
And then.
Just kill the chicken. He'll die. Kill it. I can't. I can't kill the chicken. I can't kill the chicken. Oh God, no! Oh God! Oh Jesus! Oh, really? This happens?
Can't believe you've never done that though. Like.
Yeah, that right? And it's in every single one of them.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. Like in you know. Okay, Rena, fine. If you hurt one, all the other ones are gonna come closer and then attack you all the time. But if you go further, they'll keep going away. But
oh, really?
In this one, the one it's Link to the Past.
Oh yeah.
You go into the dark world and
Okay.
back, and when you do that, the screen comes full of chicken and they chase you and
Oh.
kill you. So don't fuck with the chickens.
Kill the chicken. Oh, kill the chicken. No, kill the chicken.
I can't do it. I don't keep doing it.
Book a flight, unlock a hotel deal, celebrate.
Want to earn gift cards from playing new games on your
Trudeau is about to become public enemy number one once again when it comes to housing, suggesting that there will be major mortgage changes in the federal budget on April 16th. And many are predicting that this change is going to be an extension to amortization, specifically on insured mortgages, increasing the limit for amortization back up to 30 years. Which shows just how out of touch Justin Trudeau is. Because for those of you who remember, this experiment already happened back prior to 2006, and it was a disaster. Not making houses more affordable, but making them increasingly less affordable. Because, well, that's just how economics works. When you make it easier to borrow money and you reduce the payments, people will borrow more, which puts upward pressure on the housing market, and prices go. But before I get into the details and show you exactly how to calculate how these changes may affect you, if you want the most recent Canadian real estate and financial updates, hit the subscribe button and hit the like button so more people like you can see this video. And if, by the way, you're looking down and you're saying, hey, I thought I subscribed to Nolan's channel, but subscribe to my other channel, which is now more focused on general wealth building and global economic conditions. So if you aren't subscribed to this one already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Okay, so let's get into it. Let's discuss the latest news on Canadian mortgages and real estate. And again, like I said in the intro, Justin Trudeau is showing once again how out of touch he is with the realities of how economics work. I mean, he's already said in the past that he doesn't really pay attention to monetary policy, and it seems he just doesn't pay attention to what the real world at all, as he is suggesting there are going to be major changes with respect to mortgages that will make houses more affordable for Canadians, but in reality, he's probably for Canadians, especially if he is doing what is suggested, which is increasing amortizations on insured mortgages back up to 30 years. Because this, mostly because it isn't going to change how much people can afford. They're still going to be able to afford the exact same monthly payments
But what it's going to do is increase the amount of mortgage that they can get, which is going to cause housing prices to increase accordingly and subsequently push more houses over that $1 million mark, which will make them uninsurable and subsequently less affordable for Canadians. Meaning there's going to be less homes that are worth less than $1 million available because Justin Trudeau just
is a fucking idiot. Because he's a fucking idiot.
Video. This is purely
and people have been telling him for the longest time, being like, it's a bad idea, you don't want to do that. And he's just like, bro. You know, like my father was. It's like, God, you're so stupid.
And I want to start by showing you the BNN Bloomberg article.
Oh, we're good. Big pass on this.
News on mortgages is coming.
Okay.
You see pictures, and just seeing it real, it was just.
Oh my God! Really?
One of the best trips I've ever had in my life, and it was less than.
Why haven't I fucking seen a redacted video in forever?
Lost a lot on my hairline. This used to be filled in, and now look how bare it is.
Democrats have turned.
Oh my God! First fucking world problem.
Bring your illegal immigrants here. We will give them housing. We'll give them
That's
money.
lovely. Thank you.
Take care of them. That all sounded like a great plan for Democrats until their cities have been overrun by illegal immigrants, with tent cities being set up, people being kicked out of hotels. The city of Denver has experienced this firsthand with tens of thousands, I think over 40,000 now illegal immigrants pouring into the city of Denver. And now officials there are telling people, this video is going viral, don't stay here in Denver. We will put you on a bus. We will send you on to greener pastures because it's gotten so bad here in Denver. Watch this.
Si quieres permanecer aquí, yo estoy aquí para bloquearte, estoy aquí para avisarte que tu camino no ha terminado. Si permaneces aquí, te vas a sufrir hasta más. Y eso es lo que lo ves, que tu camino no ha terminado. Tu camino no ha terminado. Que viajas un tantito más. No tienes que caminar por ningún parte. Podemos comprarte boleto gratuito. Puedes ir a cualquier ciudad. Hasta la frontera de Canadá te llevamos.
Someone who knows all about this is former Customs and Border Patrol veteran supervisor J.J. Carroll, 24 years. He and the Customs and Border Patrol written the book Invaded, and he's been warning us about the dangers of what's going to happen in these sanctuary cities for a while now. We want to invite J.J. on to give his context here on this. J.J., welcome back to the show. Great to see you.
Thanks for having me back on, Clayton.
This is the disaster, it seems. I mean, Democrats, I think, during the Trump years, I think it certainly roll out these sanctuary city ideas when you didn't have illegal immigrants coming to those cities. It seems, right? You didn't have this influx of illegal immigrants. Then once Biden opens the border, it seems like now this stress test has totally failed. What's your sense of these sanctuary cities?
Sanctuary cities are the greatest example of the left's democracy. For decades, all throughout my career, but it has accelerated before Biden came in, and then when Biden came in, all the wheels fell off. Because the sanctuary cities lectured us from afar. Massachusetts, 2,500 miles away. New York City, over 2,000 miles. Philadelphia, over 2,000 miles. They lectured us about our lack of compassion, our inability to dig deep into our tax reservoirs to pay for illegal aliens. All that changed in about 2022 when all this influx of illegal aliens came in and bombarded these cities. You showed Denver. Let me just give you some statistics on Denver. Denver has serviced and provided services to only 39,000
Denver has a population of 3 million people, so less than 3.5% of their total population, 39,000, has brought Denver to its knees in social benefits. Denver right now, in less than a year, 18 months, is a $120 million budget shortfall because of all the illegal aliens. I'll give you another data point, which is incredible about Denver. Denver illegal aliens have been to the hospital, talking long-term stay, quick emergency rooms, thousands, millions of dollars, 20,000 times. So they have decimated the Denver medical.
Oh my God.
Okay.
This is a switch fight. This is a switch fight. This is a switch fight.
In fact, anybody can be a switch fight.
And we mean anybody. All you need is a switch hit. Lightweight. Pocket size. Connected to your handlebar.
And boost your ride with electric power.
Please, all of you, fucking go die.
Washington, the police won't help you if you are the victim of a real crime. But if you have your feelings hurt and you think you've been a victim of a hate crime, they're going to jump right to it. That's because they just passed a law that establishes a non-police hotline to assist people who have been targeted by hate crimes or bias incidents. Someone vandalized your property, can't help you. They are not going to help you. Someone hurt your feelings, we're on it. That's a hate crime. We can't have that in the state of Washington. Now, here's just a little reminder, because during the summer of 2020, protesters in the city of Seattle established the Capitol Hill Occupied Protest, or CHOP, as they called it, after the Black Lives Matter protests popped up around the country. Local business owners were left to fend for themselves as the protest zones got more and more violent.
Chaotic month in 2020 led to the abandonment of the Seattle Police East Precinct and creation of the Autonomous Zone in a 5-block area of Capitol Hill, leaving McDermott to literally fend for himself a block away from the CHOP. No one responded to more than a couple dozen 911 calls.
Our building, was broken into and was lit on fire, and the guy, tried to cut my son's leg open and stab him. The fire department was sitting literally at the corner of the block, but they couldn't come in because the Seattle Police Department wouldn't come in. If you dial 911, what do you expect to have happen? Where are the tax dollars, that we're paying?
Okay, well, if he called it in as a hate crime and said, this is hurting my ideology, maybe the state would have helped him out a little bit. He actually had to sue with other business owners because police did not do what they were supposed to do, keep him safe and keep his property safe. And he ended up settling with the city of Seattle. Now, here is what Washington is going to do, not to combat real crime. They don't care about that. To combat hate crimes, here is SB 5427, saying that they are going to support people who've been targeted or affected by hate crimes and biased incidents by establishing a reporting hotline and trafficking hate crimes and bias not trafficking. They're going to track it. Now, here's what the Seattle Times tells us would be an example of a hate. A Sikh man had his religious center burglarized and vandalized in 2021. Well, how exactly, I ask you, would a hotline help? Because it doesn't matter what the motivation is, because he was Sikh or not. It's illegal to vandalize and break into that facility that he owns, right? Would it have mattered if there was a hotline that he could call and say, I think this was racially motivated because I'm a Sikh person and I wear it? So, the police should also be here, but you need to track this because I think it's because of who I am, right? That's ridiculous. A crime is a crime. What the Seattle Times is pointing us to is not a hate crime, it's just a crime.
Well, that's what Booga Booga says in our chat. Great screen name, by the way, Booga Booga on Rumble says, hate, what is hate? They never define hate, right? We already have these laws in place. Like, it's illegal to murder somebody.
Okay.
Like, what's the hate part of it? You killed someone, you obviously hate that person.
Well, presumably the Black Lives Matter protesters were
but sometimes it's your best buddy in here.
Doing business, and that's who they targeted. This man we just saw, right? That's a hate crime, but you don't need that extra layer. What they did was a crime. Now, that's not what they're trying to do about this. They're not just trying to help raise
Oh, yeah,
awareness or
smoking
track
one.
this. Really what they want is to track this, and they want the data around it. And I'm going to show you exactly how much data they want, including bank accounts. So that's crazy. But now they're just going to open this hotline. They say only hours. So you can't be hate crimed in non-working hours. As dumb as it sounds, the bill at least dropped an incentive to pay people to report. Here was in the original proposal. This is not in the final bill that passed, but they had the balls to put it in and trying to get passed that the Attorney General's office would provide compensation to targeted persons who are affected by hate crimes and bias incidents by authorizing expenditures from the Washington Hate Crime and Bias Incident Account. How much money does this account have? Established in Section 3, up to $2,000 per person. So not only could you call in and say, I'm a victim, or my neighbor's doing hate crimes, my neighbor really doesn't like ethnic minorities, or I feel judged because I'm an ethnic minority, this was a hate crime, then the state will reach into its coffers and pay $2,000 to that person. So they were going to compensate these victims, getting people to tell on each other for what is called hate crimes. Again, this is a new layer of crime we don't need. Crime should be bad enough on its own. Who cares, really, what the motivation is? I mean, I know very much that criminal law cares about the motivation, so let's leave that aside. Now, keep in mind that as of last summer, the city of Seattle paid over $12 million in legal fees for letting CHOP run wild because people said, hey, you let people sexually assault me. You didn't help, get people out of my house or my property. So now they're
Yeah, I get that.
They could have maybe just policed it.
I totally get that. But it's kind of like, well, you know what? You guys aren't gonna fucking actually help when I call you. I don't want to pay those anymore.
And when they need to get involved. And two, it blurs the line between prejudice that the state doesn't like and actual crime, right? And so you have to wonder, who will be able to report hate crimes? Will this white man who was attacked by Black Lives Matter protesters be able to report that as a hate crime? Or is he not within the purview of what they think it should be? Also, beyond that, it's a slide tracking tool as well. Take a look at what they're going to ask for, personal identifying information. They're saying that they're going to ask you, if you call in a hate crime, any information that can trace your identity, such as name, prior legal name, alias, mother's maiden name, date or place of birth, residence, mailing address, telephone number, email address, social security number, driver's license, bank account number. Why do they need your bank account number if you're saying you're a victim of hate crime? That's weird.
Yeah.
Right?
Why do you need it? Yeah, social security number, your bank account number. What are they going to do? Freeze some sort of? Why would? I don't know.
Especially if they're only trying to
married.
Yeah. Right?
Share an account together.
Blood test.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. I don't know why they're saying that. They're saying that they're going to compile all of these statistics and then make it public. So, they need to know who, and I guess, okay, let's say in 3 years, the government says, here are all the people that are victims of a hate crime. And what they want to tell us is it's all transgender kids, basically, are all victims of hate crimes. Or all racial minorities, or all poor people, whatever, that they're going to say. But what does the bank account do? Where do they put that? And they're poor or whatever, and most of them don't have driver's licenses. I don't know. Here's how they describe not just a hate crime, but a bias incident. So this is something, if it started in the state of Washington, you're going to see it move around the country to all liberal politicians. Not just hate crimes, but now bias incidents. It means a person's hostile expression of animus towards another person. Talk about nebulous definition, right? Relating to the other person's actual or perceived characteristics, or of which criminal investigation or prosecution is impossible or inappropriate. So can we just talk about this for a second? So it could be an actual characteristic or a perceived characteristics, right? I think I am a man, and you saying this to me that I'm not a man is a bias, and I don't like it, but there's no criminal or prosecution that's possible. I don't have any way to prosecute you under criminal law, so I'm reporting this now as a biased incident. Can you think of any other way this can be used in a very concerning way? Because there's no teeth here, right? I mean, look at this language. Can we put it back up on the screen? perceived characteristics. It doesn't even have to be true. It's something that I say is true. And it's something under which now there is no criminal law. So they're trying to sneak in ways to make it illegal for you to practice wrongthink. I don't see it in any other way.
The only way to get 5 Premier League matches is with Fubo TV. Catch top.
And it also kind of works backwards too, where it's like if somebody like so you could get like basically get somebody in trouble for hate crime if like they assume somebody was gay and then they like yelled at that person about that, even though if the person wasn't gay, it's still a hate crime. And it's like, does that make sense? Like,
yeah, because it doesn't have to be an actual characteristic. It could just be what you perceive. You could take similar offense if someone calls you straight, or what have you, or Christian, or Muslim, or Jewish, or Catholic, or whatever, right? Because it's just you have shown some bias, which living beings are prone to do because we are supposed to be judging the world and whether or not it's safe for us at any given moment. So yes, we do that out of existing biases. Sorry, that's an incident now that makes it a crime. And of course, this is just all based on the ideology that the left promotes. So here's the things that they say they want to, protect. Here are the people who are in the protected class. This is a group based on their race, color, religion, ancestry, national origin, gender, sexual orientation, gender expression or identity, or mental, physical, or sensory disability. So basically anything, like sensory disability, that also gives me a little bit of pause. Like, is it just, I can't have my feelings hurt, right? I can't take any kind of aggression at all. This makes me feel unsafe. It's sort of in the book, The Canceling of the Coddling of the American Mind, they talk about how young people today are taught to always trust their feelings. And if their feelings feel bad, they should run away from something and make sure they're never presented with it ever again. And it makes them the opposite of anti-fragile. It makes them fragile. And what we want for young people is to be anti-fragile, that any adversity makes them stronger. So if we're saying here that we're even protecting sensory disabilities, your very senses, you can see how that could be a dragnet for people who are not otherwise suffering from any kind of mental condition. It's just, it's a bias incident because you hurt my feelings. And I don't want to see that.
Like if I honk if somebody cuts me off in traffic and I honk at them and they have an anxiety disorder and it triggers a panic attack when I honk at them, am I now guilty of that crime? Yes. Am I now married to Seattle?
Yeah. I think that's a great example. Yeah. Don't upset me. Don't yell at me if I, don't be passive aggressive in an airport security line. That would get clean always in trouble.
Oh yeah, that passive aggressive. They need to pass a law against my passive aggressive anger.
Yeah. Go ahead, David.
This just gave bicyclists like ultra power.
You can imagine.
They're always getting messed with.
Right.
For sure. Yeah. I got one time we were driving and there was bikers behind us. We were behind them, remember? And we were fine with them. And the person behind us started honking like crazy.
Yeah.
So the bikers thought it was us.
And
And then they yelled at us. And I felt bad. I'm like, no, we're fine with you.
Yeah.
It wasn't us. It was the guy behind us.
I want you to get there safe. I think what you're doing is...
That sounds like a Jerry Seinfeld skit.
Yeah, I know. It did, because it was like 3 minutes later, they finally, when we got to a turn and we were about to turn, they started yelling at our car, going, honk, honk, honk. And I was like, no, that wasn't us. We like you.
Yeah.
And the fact that they made you nervous, doing that, they committed a hate crime.
Exactly.
A bias incident.
And now I feel hated. And for the rest of my life, I'll feel biased.
Right.
Biased incident against me.
Yeah. I mean, we are supposed to just walk around the world like robots. Don't get into any real interaction with people because they may really not like it, right? I even think of as a mom on the playground when like some other kid is, for instance, when the kid's going up the slide and my kid wants to go down, and I say to them, like, the person going down the slide has the right of way. You're going to have to move or you're going to get kicked in the face, buddy. And other moms are like, you don't talk to my kid. You don't tell them that. Like, there's a rule of things, you guys, on the slide. The person down the down goer has the right of way. And you should look out for other kids to not get kicked in the face. It's just this whole, like, you can't protect each other's kids. Or like another kid runs out of a store and I grab them and they look like, don't touch a child. And I'm like, trying to help. And that's the society we're moving into, where we just don't look out for or interact in any meaningful way. Okay, but I wonder if dominant ideologies could use this new hotline too. So let's say that man says, I'm being targeted because I'm a white business owner by Black Lives Matter protesters. Would they hop to it? Or could you say, I'm being targeted because they're calling me a TERF because I don't accept gender ideology. So that makes me a victim. Like, will they hop to it for you? I've seen some people saying, well, let's use it, right? If we're feeling this way, we'll use it for our advantage too. Now, the state says that they will publish, again, these statistics. And what happens? Who do you get when you call this hotline? What's going to happen? Well, the state says that local authorities have to have people on staff to help you and support you. It includes, though, legal aid. So it's interesting because they say here these are not things that could be punishable by crime, but you will get a lawyer. On the state dime, take a look here. It says that you will have this committee that will have otherwise representatives from legal aid and these, other, I guess you'd call them social workers, advisory programs and things to tell you how to deal with it. So it seems like the state wants you to litigate this because they can't pass laws to make bias incidents a crime. They want to, they just can't, so they'll sneak it under the radar like this. So if you live in the state of Washington, your taxpayer dollars will go towards legal advice from people who feel that they've been victims of bias incidents or hate crimes. Let us know what you think of this.
Did we just have a surplus in Washington all of a sudden? I didn't think we had a surplus of money. Like, are they just like, we've got all this surplus, like, what can we spend this on? Oh, I know, let's pass a bill to, I don't know, let's do this.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, you can see that not only did they want to pay people to do it, which they stopped, but they do want to put them into some kind of litigation. You can get legal advice. So again, the one that they want the most is misgendering.
Right.
That person misgender you at a Starbucks. It's not illegal, but it's a bias incident. Can you sue for that? We've got lawyers on hand. And let's track this. Let's report it. Let's get some bank account information.
I mean, I've been covering this for years. Back when I was a news anchor on Fox News, we would cover these stories, and it was infuriating back then. And this has now evolved. We've watched this metastasize over the years, and we've been watching the slow degradation of the United States with these microaggressions. These everyone's feelings are hurt. I remember covering this. With the campus, you could the free speech zones.
Yeah,
we would like structure free speech zones on campuses, with the microaggressions, and everyone's feelings are hurt, and everyone's walking around with this sort of protected mentality now, where everyone's we have to worry about all the protected classes.
Yeah, don't speak about my sensory. What do we call it? Sensory ability.
Yeah. Were you guys Arrested Development fans?
Yeah.
Do you remember when the sister, I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but when they put her in that cage to protest, and they're like, here's your free speech zone.
Yeah.
Put her in the cage.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, this isn't something like
all over the United States. Like there are literally in front of like courthouses and stuff. You have a square that you can stand in to protest.
And the rest of us shall be protected from those words because we're not strong enough to handle it.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, we've been watching this slow. And this is not something new. Like, we're not just like covering this like, it's just like a new story. No, I've been covering it for almost 20 years now. So I've watched this evolution of this story. It's absolutely laws on the books. And you see what the passing of the law in Scotland today, right? You see this extension around the world. J.K. Rowling is firing back against that today about this hate speech. This hate crime, what is it, hate speech bill or hate thought crime bill in Scotland? I forget the name. I've been watching this unfold for like 20 years now. We've got to stop it. I really hope you enjoyed watching this video. YouTube thinks that you'll actually like this next video right here. It's personalized based on your own viewing habits. So if you watch the video, please leave a comment. Let us know what you think about it, and we will see you next.
Justice in Palestine. It is our pleasure and honor to welcome you all today.
Why?
I'm going to build you an e-commerce store completely
Fuck
free.
off. I hate you people.
Now, if you've heard, well, we've been following the Medical Assistance in Dying
Woo!
Act in
That's
Canada,
us.
which of course allows a state to provide assisted suicides to its citizens in Canada. And Canada, of course, leads the world on this. And one big case caught our attention last week when we learned of a father trying to get the state to stop putting his daughter, his 27-year-old daughter, yes, she's an adult, into the MAID program due to autism. And the father is pleading with the province to stop this from happening. Well, we have a big update on this story now, and we wanted to bring in David Creighton from Ottawa to talk about the very latest on this, independent journalist who also writes over the Post Millennial and has a great YouTube channel as well.
I think
David,
it's like a double right there,
just
kind
a
of.
big update on this story.
Like a double now. The girl fucking has autism. Like already, someone who's is contemplating suicide is not mentally capable of making their own decisions that are fucking confident.
Placed upon her in an attempt just to delay things so that he would at least find out why his daughter, who goes in the news by MV, there's a publication bid on this. Her father is known as WB, collectively with his wife. He wants to know why his autistic daughter, who apparently might also suffer from attention deficit disorder, is eligible for medical assistance in dying. Odious euthanasia program. He wants some answers because, as far as he's concerned, his daughter shouldn't be seeking MAID, and he wants to know why. So, but yesterday, a judge lifted the injunction. Now, he has stayed the rule 30 days in the event that there's an appeal from the father. But I found the judge's words and his description of why he lifted this injunction to be especially chilling.
You gonna join me after?
Because he said it would cause irreparable harm
for
this woman if she
Uh,
was allowed to proceed with
People calling to know.
state-assisted euthanasia. Now that to me goes to my very soul. And I say, have we come this far in Canada where it's somehow irreparably harmful if people aren't allowed to commit suicide with the state's assistance?
Well, it's absolutely shocking, and it opens up, of course,
I might bring my rhino.
a level of precedence that I'm worried would open up a can of worms across Canada for other cases in this regard. And of course, she is 27 years old, so she is an adult. But what if
I'll share cigarette
child
first.
who is under the age of 18, and a
Let me get them.
the child has ADHD, it has autism, and the state allows this child to go forward with being added to the MAID program. I know people say, look what's happening in California.
Tremendous agitation right now from groups, not only fundamentally ill but and these children are so-called minors who think like adults. That's the only way I can describe the euphemism that they put on it. They tag to this. These are minors who somehow should be treated as adults because they think like adults. It's somebody who's capable of thinking like adults. This, of course, is just sex change surgery. 12-year-olds who think they're adults and say, I'd like a sex change, please. Well, thankfully, the tide is turning against that
6 a.m. and 6:30. You don't have to get up. Well, I'm gonna remember my coffee first, right now.
What happened in here?
Huh?
She said. Jack, you okay, baby? We're going upstairs.
6 hours of sleep is enough.
Mm-hmm.
What, 6 by the time I fell asleep?
Why did we get so early, Nick?
What do we got to eat?
At 6:30?
Well, 6:30, and I guess. Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is ridiculous. Thank you, baby.
Look at me like I'm the jerk. Trying to help you out.
It's 6:30 and 7. That's good.
Like 7 is fine.
By the time I get dressed, my coffee, the joint.
Sure. It's you, not me.
Okay, you're right. It's alright. You're gonna get at work for 30th worst case scenario.
Come.
What?
You're going around the block.
Yeah, it's a long walk. Thank you.
I did several. I don't know why I put your little dog's name. Several do you?
Google, change your fucking thing. No need to. It's past 12.
Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah, you didn't realize?
Nope. Wanna go upstairs and bed, Jack? You didn't smoke your weed.
Which one?
With MK Ultra.
Yeah, I smoked 2 joints. You didn't like it.
Oh, okay.
Smoked 2 joints in the morning. 30 joints at night.
Huh.
Makes me feel alright. I smoked 2 joints. Gonna be doing.
What I'm optimistic about is what I heard on the weekend. I was at a axe rally here on your program.
You're gonna smoke more. Smoke cigarettes.
You want dress?
No.
But he described the Canada the other day that for me was reminiscent of the 1984 Ronald Reagan campaign commercial called "It's Morning Again in America." And Pierre Poilievre described a Canada that I would say it's morning again in Canada, where people get up in the morning and are happy to go to work because their taxes will not be going towards programs like this.
Sorry, dog. You threw me a thing.
Nonsense about gender ideology, climate change.
Please stop
It will
talking.
not be confronted constantly.
Girl. Oh, why am I so fucking sore? You're struggling.
So no bidding, bedding, pick, pack, paw, fuckity, fuck, fuck.
I don't know why I have a feeling Mike's gonna go to jail.
Huh?
I have a feeling Mike's gonna go to jail.
Oh well.
It's almost like he wants to go to jail.
Kinda.
Like, why don't we open this thing around fucking good?
The firearm, we go 4 to 8 years.
Yeah, but like, he's not mentally stable enough to be carrying a weapon.
No.
He's very short fused, very fucking quick tempered.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh my god. How's my luck?
Oh.
Your food will go in there.
Can't go back. The smokes too. Mm. 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 Oh fuck. Why?